Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wilde, and we are adventuring, of course, in the spaces between. So, thank you for joining me. I gotta tell you, I am about nine kinds of distracted tonight, but that's okay. We adventured in real life, and North Idaho has snow. It's great.
Oh,
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And I am also joined tonight by the lovely Deb Varner. Hi, Deb.
hi, Paisley. Hey, everybody.
Hello, hello. Yes. And I'm just a little bit out of sorts. My youngest boy decided, or he's got a car from a friend of his, and is had to go pick it up today, and so we just ran over there to go get it. And of course, the battery is dead, so we had to. It was just an adventure. That's all it is, just an adventure. Life is such an adventure. So, on that note, we are being broadcast live on Truth Frequency Radio, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. And the call lines are open. Yay. And that number is in a super secret place because I can never keep track of anything. It is 213-233-3998, or in the UK, it is 44203-393-2871. And holy cow, the chat room is busy. And thank you guys last night. Oh my gosh, you were so active in the chats. I love it. Love it.
That was wonderful last night.
It was really good. I mean, right now, Sage, Cameron, Monster, because I'm not going to mess up that first name. Renee, Sonia, Suzanne, and Dawn are all, and it looks like Renee is in two places at once, and because Renee's busy, and yeah, just it was good. It was good last night. There was a lot of activity, and I appreciate it. Oh, Suzanne, I see, and there's someone else, but I'm scrolling around trying to find them, and I'm not. Yeah, it's just one of those things. And so tonight, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about protecting yourself as an empath, or psychically protecting yourself in general, I suppose. And because I think a lot of people misunderstand what that really means, and it's not as hard, I think, as some people make it out to be. It's not as simple either. I think it goes somewhere in between. But that's just my own personal opinion. And as I'm trying to fix the computer, because it was, yeah. Seriously, I walked in and came in and sat down in front of the computer and turned it on. It's just like, shoot. So, I have cookies for a snack. Cookies. And because I haven't had any dinner yet either. So that'll be my next stop after this. Yeah.
The joys of parenthood, I tell you, it's never a dull moment.
Isn't that just the truth of it? And if it's not one, it's another one. I have to tell you. Um,
Hmm.
it really, 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 really is. So, there's one other thing I wanted to talk about last night. I mentioned it. Do you remember what it was? Did you write it down? Because I didn't.
It was connecting with your guides.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Connecting with your guides. I don't know how I forget that one. Because I think that's important. And I think we often get in our own way too much when it comes to connecting with our guides. What do you think?
Um, some of us are still trying to wrap our minds around the fact that we do have guides. We have someone that is there helping tell us, yes, do this, no, don't do that, and trying to actually figure out what their job is and, yeah, how to connect with them. But it's that little voice. You've always heard that little voice inside your head. Well, that's who it is. It's our guides.
Yes. Now, I know that, like, when I'm cooking or in the kitchen and doing things, I'm talking to my guides all the time because, as a kitchen witch, I feel kind of it's important to communicate, and I'm always in there anyways. And there's a, Occasionally I'll be making something and it's like I think I'm done adding stuff, and then it's the little, and because I followed the recipe and everything, because I do occasionally use a recipe, it happens, and I'll go away and I'll come back and I'll stir it, and it's like, you know what, this isn't done yet. I needed to add something else, and it's that nudge. I think that helps me understand that yes, there is something more I need to do,
Mhm.
and sometimes I listen, sometimes I don't, and when I don't, you can tell because there's something missing in
Oh
whatever it
yeah.
is I'm cooking.
Things will happen if you don't listen.
Mm.
Yeah.
Very,
I mean,
very true.
yeah, they will tell you, they will help you along. If you're rushing around trying to get somewhere, maybe they'll put something out there to keep you from leaving on time, and you're going crazy like I've got to be there. I've got to. And as it turns out, there was an accident or there was something along the way on your that the trip you would have been making. They kept you from being in the middle of that. There's lots of ways that they help us that are absolutely wonderful. They can give us hints on if we're trying to decide what colors to use for different things. And it depends upon what our guides are as to the type of help that they give us. Some are very intellectual. If we have questions about things, they help us with that. Just like you said with the cooking, um, we will have some that, yeah, they're good in the kitchen and cooking and putting the herbs and everything together. We have some that maybe are they have a medical background, apothecaries or something like that. Um, yeah, they're always there to help us, and they're fantastic to have around.
Yes. I know that there's been a few times, like if I'm traveling or something, even just going to work, going into town to go to work, there's been a few times when I just feel that overwhelming sense of, nope, you need to go back and do something. So I've gone halfway to work. It's like, I can't ignore this feeling. I have to turn around and go back. And often it's because the stove was left on, the oven left on, the coffee pot, that kind of thing. And it is frustrating because then it makes me late, but at the same time, it makes me feel better that I did turn around and go back because then I didn't, burn my house down or something, or maybe the faucet the wasn't quite turned off right or something. And it definitely is hard to ignore that voice sometimes, and I generally, if I'm ignoring something, I get just this sense of ugh in my tummy, and it's not quite nauseous, but it's pretty close. When it's really strong. Make a left turn instead of right, or don't rush. There's no reason to rush. That kind of a thing.
Yeah,
Or sometimes, nope, you need to hurry up and
th-
get going. So it's just
things happen in their time when they're supposed to, and trust me, those guides can be they can be aggravating if you're not listening to them. They really can.
yes, very very much so. Um,
Mhm.
just out of curiosity, because I don't know the answer, and I've been meaning to ask, is what is the typical number of guides? Is there a normal number, or is it just whatever you need, or how does that happen, or how does it work?
But whatever is felt that you need. From what I understand, your angel and your guides are given to you when you come into the world. It's decided what you need. Um, we don't always have the same number of guides. It just depends upon what we need. I mean, I have given people information on two guides. I have given people information on four. Obviously, they needed a little bit more help, but most of the time, these guides will stay with us throughout our life, but they can change as our lives change. If um, if you have one that maybe is into art and stuff, and you have had to get out of that, or you're not into like crafting or whatever was behind that, but you've gone on into maybe medical, then you will lose the one that has to do with the arts, and you will bring one in that has to do with the medicines. And like I said, it just depends upon what we need in our life as to our guides that we have.
That makes total sense. Not that a
Mhm.
doctor can't be artistic, but it's not the same. The
Yeah.
intuition needs to be a little bit different when it comes to say medicine versus art. That makes
Mhm.
sense. Um, I guess the people have asked me, how do I get in touch with my guides and that kind of thing, and my response has been to date, meditate. You need to meditate on it to connect. Is that an accurate statement, or is there
Uh,
another way?
well, yeah, meditation helps because that helps to calm your mind and help you focus, which leaves you more open to any messages that come through. You do have to remember you have to stay open to any messages that are coming through. You can meditate. You can just take a quiet moment and listen, or just take a moment if there's something that you need and put it out there. Say, listen, can you give me some help? This is what's going on. I need some help with this. Can you help me? And just kind of sit quietly and just wait. And I mean, it's really weird because I mean I've done it before. If I get lost going somewhere, I'll pull off on the side of the road and I'll say, "Listen, guys, please help me here. I have got to get back to where I'm going to. Can you give me some help getting back in the right direction?" And I will sit there and get quiet for a few minutes. Next thing you know, I'm on my way and going right straight to where I needed to be. Um, you do kind of basically have to be a little bit quieter, I guess, sometimes, and more focused to hear them. They do speak to us all the time. It's just that a lot of times, yeah, we've got so much going on, and our minds can be a whirlwind, and we don't really pick up the information they give to us. That's when I get the guys who I'm trying to pick up for people who are saying they aren't listening. So, and then I pass the message on. They say you're not listening. They're talking to you, but you're not hearing what they're saying.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, we
Um,
get so wrapped up in stuff and the noise of the world around us that it's hard to listen sometimes. I know this about myself,
mhm.
and every so often I'm a little squirrely or shiny squirrel, and I'm just off. Yeah, it happens. So, but you know, it's every so often I feel more connected to my guides. I think just as you're talking about pulling off for directions, I remember one time. It's been many years ago when I was much younger, and I was out with some friends, and it was not my turn to drive because we took turns. There was a car full of people, and we were, be safe, take turns. And so we'd been out having a good time, and on the way home, I was in the back seat napping because I was very relaxed after being out at the bar for several hours and such. And they got lost. And they're like, we don't know where we are. And they woke me up. And I woke up, and it was, I remembered them talking about it, waking me up. I looked around for all of 5 seconds, and it's like, you just need to make a left turn here at the next crossroad. You make a right and keep going, and you'll get where we need to go. And I went back to sleep. It was probably 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was definitely more than two sheets to the wind. But I had a very good night. and But I knew exactly where we were, as is because I was in tune with. I personally, I I'm never lost. I've yet to be lost when I'm driving. Even it doesn't matter what city I'm in or anything. or out in the country or wherever, I don't know that I've ever really been lost. I haven't known always exactly where I was, but I never felt lost. I always knew I was going to get to where I needed to go. So it made total sense. I sat up, blinked, looked at the stars, like left and then right. I knew exactly where we were, even though I was, not really connected with
Mhm.
the world around me. So something like that. There's been a time or two when, yeah, that connection has been really, really good and has kept me out of mischief or trouble. More than mischief, I think. But yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I know that feeling.
yes, yes. So Duck Sauce joined us in chat, and he says that oh, he doesn't talk to his guides like he should, but he gets both the philosophy and music, and just needs to say thank you once in a while. I think, right? Is what do we do? If our guides help us, do we just say thank you? Do we do an offering, or what do we do?
I mean, go with what you feel. Most of the time, I will tell people, if somebody helps you do something, you just automatically say thank you. And I mean, most of the time, that's good enough for them. You acknowledge the fact that they have done something good for you, and you thank them for their help. And that means a whole lot. That can be good enough. I mean, if you feel like you need to do more, then by all means, go with whatever you feel.
Okay. So if we feel like we need to do more, I mean, what should we do? Or is it just kind of go with your intuition?
Go with your intuition. Maybe pull out an incense and burn it. Give them something nice to smell. Play some music for them. I mean, anything to make them feel appreciated, so that they feel like, yay, I've done a good job. They've listened to me. I've helped them, and I feel better because they've heard me. That's an acknowledgement to them.
Okay.
It really doesn't take a whole lot to make them happy. Just let them know that they're appreciated, so that next time, yes, they're going to be there for you.
Okay. That's doable. I think it's doable. I do it. Um, so we occasionally can be overwhelmed as people. What happens if we have more than one guide and they're all basically shouting to be heard at the same time? Is there a way to just tell them to hush up and wait a minute, chill out, or
Just take some deep breaths and focus yourself and say, listen, one at a time, please, and let them know and understand that you cannot hear all of them at the same time. That they have to give you the message, whatever it is, one at a time. I mean, it's so easy and so simple. Once you get into it and start doing it, it's almost common sense things where our guides are concerned. Um, if you don't feel like talking to them, sit down and write down what it is that you need, or what you feel like you want at the time. And basically, that's doing two things. That's letting your guides know what it is you need help with, and it's also putting out to the universe what it is that you need, so that doubly helps you bring things into you to help do whatever it is that you need and get things accomplished.
okay, that makes sense too. Um, treat them, treat them with respect, but also kind of like a 5-year-old and say, hey, listen, guys, take a deep breath. I can't listen to you all at once.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, does one guide normally be more dominant than the others, or does it vary with need and what's going on?
It varies with whatever is going on at the time and what your needs are. Because, like I said, each one has something different that they contribute. Um, Most of the time, you won't have all of them talking at once. Most of the time, it's whatever you need at the time. If you're buying furniture and you can't decide, exactly what it is that you want to take home or what you feel will be best, then just say, can you give me a little help here? And if you've got a guide that is good at, putting colors together or is crafty, or some people have like the handyman type guide, they will kind of give you a nudge in the right direction to kind of help you with your decision and things like that. If like I say, if you got the handyman, if you're trying to fix something and you're not quite sure exactly what you need to do, take a minute, take a deep breath, focus, and say, listen, this is what I need to do, and just, kind of listen for the answer to come through. And they'll tell you, pretty much what you need, or what tools you need, or um, if you need nails, if you need screws, if you need glue, whatever it is, they'll put you there with what you need. Cooking the same way. They'll be saying, wait a minute, you should have put a pinch of this in, or nope, not quite that much. And you catch yourself taking a little bit out and trying to figure out why, but the recipe called for. But um, they kind of know your taste, and we all don't have the same taste. This is where sometimes with the recipes we want to tweak them. We have help with that, knowing what we want or what we need, or what to put together. They do so many different things for us. If we have questions about, oh, say maybe if it's something having to do with law, sometimes you may have an old lawyer that is a guide that helps you out with important papers, or if something needs to be signed or taken care of, we might have someone that is good with numbers that can help us out, with our budget or anything like that. It depends upon who they are, what they are, and just, like I said, ask them. If you kind of feel silly talking with them, then write the things down, and then just, kind of get quiet and listen to see what they have to say to you, and they'll either push you in the right direction of where you need to be, or they'll tell you, no, wait a minute, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Back it up just a little bit. We need to do something different here.
Yes. I think that's very true. So there's a comment again from Duck Sauce. Yeah, he sees the guides as almost an aspect of himself. So it's not very external; it's more internal, similar to intuition. Is that close? Do you think, or is it?
Well, yeah, it's like I said, it's that little voice within. So, yeah, I guess it would almost be the same thing. Yeah, it would run along the, excuse me, it will run along the same lines. It depends upon who you talk to as how they describe it. But yeah, it can kind of be that intuitive thing, because they're there, pushing you towards or pulling you back from, and that's basically what our intuition is.
Okay, that makes sense. So, holy cow! Can you believe it's been almost half an hour already?
Oh wow.
I know we get to talking and just zing, time goes by really fast. So just real quick, what happens if we don't really listen and we don't really connect? Do we just? I guess what happens? Yeah, if you can do it in 30 seconds or less.
um,
Um,
what usually something will happen. It's not always the same thing. If they tell us not to go this way and we go that way, um, It could mean we're in an accident. It could mean we fall down some steps. Somebody might run into us and hit us. It's different things.
Okay.
But
So
I mean,
we're
they do try to get that message through. So it's up to us to start, picking up on what they're giving to us. Pick up what they're putting down, okay? So, um, yeah, because that's what they're there
oh,
for.
and it is break already. So we will be right back, and we're talking with Miss Deb Varner. So we will see you shortly.
Sisters of the shining moon, heaven, earth, and sea, I call upon you in this hour, bring magic unto me. Brothers, oh, the cauldron cries, it singeth unto me, the songs of Mother Goddess and of Father in the tree.
Hello, my lovelies. This is Paisley Wilde, and we are adventuring in the spaces between. And we are live tonight with Miss Deb Varner. Deb, are you still there?
I am.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Deb.
Hello.
And, oh,
Oh, she heard me. Oh, did you turn my mic on? Okay, anyhow. Hi.
I've
Hi,
got the
Don.
power of mute over Dawn.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
Oh, that's too funny. I've joined an elite club.
Very elite, yes.
So we are live, and if somebody would like to call in, that number is 213-233-3998, or if you're in the UK, it is 44203-393-2871. So we're talking about um, just staying
Our
connected with
guides.
your guides. Yeah.
Yeah. A couple more things that I wanted to talk about.
Hmm.
You can ask your guides for a sign that they are there, and look for maybe numbers, a certain sequence of numbers, or smells, or maybe animals that appear out of nowhere, something that wouldn't normally be there. Um, that's usually a sign that they're there. And you can also, now I won't ask them their names because sometimes it's really hard to pick up on things like that. And I don't want to tell you wrong. Now you can ask your guides their names. Usually, when you do that, the first name that you pick up on is their name. So, I mean, you can go ahead when you're talking to them. Once you feel comfortable with them, you can ask them for signs that they're there, or you can, ask and say, "Hey, listen, what is your name?" So I know who I'm talking to, and hopefully they will go ahead and give you their name, so that way you'll know a little bit more about them, and you can, call them by name as you feel like you need them.
Okay, that makes sense. I know that sometimes it is just easier to focus on someone when you have their name.
Mhm.
It's sometimes just easier to connect, and then that's just all there is to it. Because sometimes that connecting is very, 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 very hard. Because we get so busy listening to
Yeah.
ourselves or things around us that we miss things, and that happens.
Yeah. And don't try too hard. That's what the meditation is for, or the deep breaths to calm yourself and focus, so that you can pick up on it. It's like anything else where we're concerned. If you try too hard, it blocks you, and you're not able to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Trying too hard, you get over focused or hyper focused. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I suppose in a way that brings me to the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is, or have you talk about, is how to protect yourself as an empath when you're out and about in the real world. Because I think there's been a lot of opinions out there. Uh, not all of them are as valid as others. Some are just shouted louder. And I googled it just because I was curious. And oh my gosh, the number of articles out there on how to protect yourself in an environment. Um,
Yeah.
w-
Bunches and bunches and bunches.
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And
Yeah.
it's not just like, think of a brick wall and you're protecting yourself. There's some of these articles are a serious song and dance and stand on your head, and yeah, it's ridiculous. What's real when it comes
Well, see,
to
that's what I taught myself was to um, build that brick wall, a brick at a time, as you go out, and then eventually you'll be able to pull that wall up when you go out to help block. Um, Good ways to protect yourself at home or when you go out is to picture a bright white light above your head and let it grow. And as it gets bigger, you focus on it coming down over your body, your head, your shoulders, down your arms, your body, down your legs to your feet. Let that white, bright light cover you and protect you. That pretty much everybody will tell you that. You can go the route of carrying crystals and gemstones. Um, let's see.
Is there one that's better than another, or?
Well, amethyst is good. Obsidian. Um, any of your black stones will help ground you as well as protect you. Garnets, tourmaline, citrine, or agates. And I also suggest with any of the stones that you use, carry a clear crystal, a clear quartz crystal with them, because that helps intensify anything that they're used for. So if you want a little extra protection, throw that clear quartz crystal in there with whatever you carry with you. You can carry those. You can just put something in your pocket. You can make a little bag and put your stones in it that you can carry in your pocket or your pocketbook. My stones are in my medicine bag, and it's with me everywhere I go. Jewelry is good that you can wear: necklaces, earrings, rings, bracelets. You can get your crystals and gemstones in jewelry that you can wear, and you can have it with you.
Yes. In a way that
Yeah.
just real quick on that one. For a lot of folks who are in the pagan pantry or the broom closet or just trying to keep it on the down low, jewelry is a big deal. Like I'm wearing a couple of different rings now, just because I had that need. One's an opal. I've got a watermelon quartz. I've got kind of a, oh, it's black. It's not obsidian, but it sure looks like it could be. I don't know. And then a fake ruby, but it's got little bitty diamond chips with it. And it felt like it was necessary. And I generally carry a snowflake obsidian in my pocket, and I just it varies. I've got a selection that I keep in my jewelry drawer that I just add as needed, or when I feel like I need that extra buffer at work. Often work is complicated. I know for me and for many others, we work in interesting places, around other people with other opinions and attitudes. And sometimes we need just a little bit more protection, I guess, from the folks that we work with, no matter how well they mean. Um,
You'll see- You could add some maybe rose quartz, or let's see, what else could you add with that? Lapis lazuli,
mhm. I love that. I've got a box
blue
of
lace
it.
agate.
Mhm.
Those will work with the other stones, whereas the other stones help to protect and to ground you. Those stones, the ones that I just mentioned, will help to calm you also in the situations when you're out. So, focus on what it is you feel like you need and go looking for your stones. Get a feel for the Don't grab the first stone that you see. Try a couple of them, and you'll be able to feel a slight vibration off of the stone that's right for you. If you're going to put them in a bag, you also might try adding a little bit of Himalayan sea salt, because that's good for against negativity. That that also, and I've stressed it before. Once you've been out, if you come back and you're just not feeling right, go take you a nice hot bath with some Himalayan sea salt, throw some salt in there, and sit and soak. That will help pull any of the negative energy off of you that you have gathered while you were out around anybody.
That makes total sense. I know there's been a few times when I've just really needed that grounding or that ritual cleansing in a way when I've come home from work, because there's been a few times it's just been an interesting day and I needed to wash it away. I'll even do it in the office. You go to the bathroom and it's like I set my attention and then I just wash my hands. It's like I'm washing my hands and I'm letting all this negativity go, and it's a band-aid until I get home. But yeah, there's times when you really gotta just about pickle yourself in the salt to get rid of some of that.
Yeah, you do. You can at home. You can take some glass jars and put out some of the Himalayan sea salt, or what I call pure water. You don't want to use city water or anything like that. It's better if you use maybe rainwater, or if you've got some water close by to go, lake, stream, pond, anything like that. And you want to get moving water. Don't get water that's sitting and stagnant. You want to get moving water. And you can take that and put that out. And that will, you can use that at home. If you have a little place over to the side at your office, you can put it out. That will draw any negative energy that is around. That helps too. Usually the sea salt, if you see it sort of going grayish, then you know it's time to change it. I usually change it maybe about once a month.
Okay, that makes
Pour
sense.
it out, pour the water out, get rid of everything, and then start anew until the area starts feeling better. At home, you can smudge. You can use sage, cedar, lavender. I mean, there's a lot of different things. Sandalwood, frankincense, myrrh, all of that's good to help cleanse negative energy from the area.
Yeah,
Then you can also.
I got a fountain I was going to take to work and have it sit on a little shelf next to my desk. And I was just going to bring, because it would look pretty, but the trickling sounds of the water, I was going to just, pour some of my well water into it and just, let some of that negativity, sparkle away a little bit, because, yeah. Customer service is an adventure on a good day.
Well, it sounds like, Paisley, your best bet would be a small, not so outlandish altar, with a little bit of water, a little bit of salt, and maybe just a little representation of something, and a few rocks, a few stones. What is it that I have? I have that quartz with the tourmaline shot through it. What is the other one? Not the prehnite. That's what I'm wearing right now. Oh, the kyanite, the blue kyanite. It rejects negative energy, negative vibes. You know where that is. You could probably grab some of that. So, and definitely a smudge bundle. Of course, you can't light it, but whatever. You can always throw it at people.
Now, I like a combination. I've got a little jar, and I've got frankincense and myrrh in it. You can throw that in there. All you got to do is just unscrew the top and just sit it out, and it will help.
A potpourri.
Mm-hmm. Well, nowadays, it's almost popular to have some sort of essential oil going in your space. And I've got a couple little ionizers, or whatever you call them. Atomizers. You just put a couple drops of whatever the essential oil is with some water, and people think you're just, you're being cool, you're supporting your local multi-level marketing friend. So And I've got no problems doing that. My go-to on that is orange and peppermint, just because I love them. But yeah, I'm about to venture into a new position, and I'm very excited about it. But I'll be dealing with a different part of the public that are often disadvantaged. So I'm sure that I'll need to come home occasionally, and probably need to wash away some negativity or just a rough day. I think there's something to
Possibly.
be said for a good cleansing bath or soak.
Mhm. Now I used to keep a spray bottle of clary sage around, and if I felt like something just didn't feel right, I would spray some of that around. You can do something like that too. Just have a little spray bottle, a little pump bottle of the different things that you feel. The lavender, the sage, anything like that. You can get the essential oils, and you can mix it in that spray bottle. And as you need it, you can spray it kind of around you a little bit here and there, a little. It might help towards if you have somebody standing there that is kind of putting negative towards you. You just excuse me just a minute, and then just pump it a couple of times and say, "Ooh, doesn't that smell good?"
This is mine. This is mine. This is
Now
mine.
you'll know what it's there for, but they probably won't. But anyway.
Yeah, I've got a recipe for they call it monster spray for Minnie Paisley. If we get to the point where she starts having nightmares or whatnot, or have problems going to sleep, basically it's just uh, water and lavender and a little bit of peppermint, and you just shake it up and you spritz around to get rid of the monsters. But
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with a grown-up monster spray.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, because I mean, at one point or another, usually during the day, there's negativity that we come up against, and it won't hurt. It really won't hurt. But I mean, there's lots of ways, for us to protect ourselves. It depends upon who you are and what your preference is. You could wear a cross, carry a cross. It depends upon who you are and what it is that your belief is. A pendant. You could wear a locket with certain things in it, a little pinch of this, a little pinch of that. I mean, we, it's hard to go into everything, but I mean, we have herbs that we use on a daily basis that we cook with that we could take and add with a little sea salt into a locket and wear it. Nobody's going to know it's there. We're going to know it's there, and that's going to be there to help protect us. I
Yes, I
mean,
have.
there's a lot of ways, of doing it.
Yeah. Now I have these little ampules that I had on my Etsy store that I'll have on the website here shortly, and they're really little and they're little teardrops shaped and they're cute. And I've got some with pink Himalayan salt, and I've got some with cascarilla powder, and I've got them sealed with black wax because it seemed to be right. I've got some, I think, with white wax too because it seemed appropriate for those. But and they're just little charms that you can hang on a necklace, or I suppose you could wear them as earrings if you had a pair of them. They might be a little heavy.
They're a little delicate, though.
They are very delicate, but you could put other things in there like sage or thyme
There's another idea.
or something like that in those little ampules, and just wear it as a charm. Or hang it on your lamp or whatever. Some of that stuff, it seems like it would really stand out in your space, especially like, I know if you're working with a bunch of non-pagan people. I know there's up here in North Idaho. There's a very large Christian demographic here, and they would frown upon anything that was too overtly pagan or heathen or witch. So yeah, those little charms, they just look cute. It's like, oh well, my daughter made this. I can get away with that at this point
Hmm.
until she gets a little older and says, no, my mom did that, and rats me out. But
Yeah.
you know, there's there are ways to go about, adding those protections to your workspace, your car, or your home without
Hmm.
being just overtly obvious. Peppermint spray. Just get the real stuff, not the fake
The
stuff.
highly chemical,
Yeah,
synthetic.
yeah. Get the real stuff and spritz it around. Oh hey, check out my new air freshener. It's to keep the idiots away.
Here, try some in your eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Load up a squirt gun. There you go, super soaker.
Yeah. And that's good equally to help keep spiders and stuff away. Also, that's good for that.
Yep, that's true. That's very true. So, I guess any
And
other thoughts
I want to
to
add.
share there? Yeah.
I wanted to add also, tiger's eye is really good if you feel like that's like for the evil eye. If you feel like maybe somebody is putting something towards you, negative energy towards you, tiger's eye is good to either carry or wear.
It's pretty too. And they're all
It
pretty.
is. It's beautiful.
As a woman, it's really easy to wear the stones as jewelry. I've got some diamonds and expensive stuff that I'll wear occasionally, but personally, I really like the semi-precious stones. They're more colorful and fun, and it's just they're also easier on the pocketbook. But it just it blends in with whatever I'm wearing for my wardrobe, and that I think that works great. And I have no problem cleansing them with a little bit of moonlight or anything like that. So yeah, cleanse your stuff.
Oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely, absolutely, because it does collect the negativity. So you do, and check on your stones, whatever it is you're using, and make sure. Some can be cleansed with water, some with sand, some you can put out in the sunlight. Most of mine I put out during the full moon to help cleanse them and charge them. But I mean, there
yes.
again, you have a few different ways that you can. Himalayan sea salt. There
Hmm.
again, if you have to go ahead and cleanse a stone real quick, run it through some that sea salt, and that'll help pull some of the negativity off of that stone too, at least temporarily until you can, do something better.
Yes. Yeah, because whatever you're doing or wearing for your protection, yeah, if you don't cleanse it periodically, it starts becoming, instead of protecting, it's the proverbial millstone.
Yes.
It's just hanging on you and dragging you down.
Exactly.
All right. So, any other thoughts or on either the protecting yourself as an empath, or touching base with your guides a little bit better? Because we're almost to an hour.
Um.
Can you believe it? It's been quick.
Wow, that was fast.
It's not
I'm
exactly the
so
portal.
used to the other show, and still that goes quick.
I
Um,
know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, eventually, usually, if you start learning and using the ways to protect yourself, and it's like I said, you can eventually learn how to block certain things. Because I will. I don't have it turned on at all times. Now, I know you will see some of the programs on TV where the psychic mediums and stuff keep it turned on all the time. I don't do that. I don't try doing that because you wear yourself thin. That just wears you out. So I try to, when I go out shopping or whatever, I kind of try to block things as much as I can. Granted, every once in a while somebody might be really strong and things will pop in here and there. But for the most part, I do try to block it out as much as I can or shut it off. And I mean, I have a lot of people say, well, it's hard for me to do. It is hard for you to do. But it's like anything else. When you're learning to do something, you have to do it over and over and over again to get good at it. So don't just try it one time and say, well, it didn't work. Keep doing it. Keep working yourself up to the point where you're able to, like a light switch. You turn it on when you need it and shut it down when you don't. And don't worry if you go through some periods, I call them stagnant periods, where, things don't seem to be going right, or you feel like you lost whatever gift it is you had, or whatever. We go through stagnant periods. Usually that's right before we get a bump up of either a new gift or the gift that we have is getting stronger. So, don't worry about that. But,
Awesome. Well,
yeah.
and just like that, Deb, we're done. So if you guys want to touch
Oh,
base
cool.
with Deb outside of here, if you're interested in a reading, because she does readings, it's Purple Mystic Readings by Deb. So merry meets, merry parts, and merry meet again, and you guys have a good night.
See the stealth